Some days you'll move mountains, but others you'll barely move at all. But both are part of the process. Over 20 years I've worked in the construction industry, done a bunch of house flips, real estate investing projects. And those words couldn't be truer. And it gets frustrating at times because you're working so hard on a project and sometimes it just feels like you're taking a couple steps back, or you're just running in place. Trades aren't showing up, products aren't arriving on time. There's design issues that you're waiting on answers for, so nothing's moving. And unfortunately, that's just how life is. That's just how business is. That's how the construction industry is. Now, there's a lot of ways that we can, as a whole, collaborate together to make sure these issues don't happen. We're just talking to somebody who works the architectural design space, and he was saying that when they get a project, let's say it's 95, 98% done, designed, ready to go out, it's tendered, they've already got it submitted to the building department and they get their permit approved for that. After then, they make sure that for the next week they sit down with their builder, all the different contractors on site, the engineers, the owner, and go through with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that they've assessed everything, they've made plans for everything before we start to execute, right? The APE Principle framework for success: assess, plan, execute. I thought, what a great idea. And sometimes on some projects I've worked on, that's happened. Now, I mean, it regularly happens throughout the project, every phase. You always want to make sure you're looking at the drawings and you're having weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly meetings, depends on the size of the project and how fast you're going to get it done. You want to make sure that you're having those meetings with all the stakeholders, with your power team, to make sure that everything is going good. You always want to make sure. That's why we've got those contingencies in place as well, because we know issues are going to happen. So we want contingencies for defects that could be on site, rework that might have to happen, and then as well extra money in the budget and extra time allowed for those issues. Because no matter how well we plan, no matter how hard we work to make sure that we've assessed everything and planned it all out, sometimes the execution doesn't go perfect. And that's okay. The biggest thing is to make sure that you're aware of it and you're always in the right mindset and the right space mentally to attack those problems when they come. I've talked about this before. If you've seen it in my previous videos, what do you do when your back's against the wall? Are you someone who just turtles in the corner and doesn't take action? Or are you someone who goes, shoot, there's a problem, start calling everyone as much as you can, as fast as you can, and you just grind it out? And if you got to put those 18, 20 hours in to solve a problem, unfortunately, sometimes that's what you have to do to get ahead. And again, time and time again, I see people don't take action, don't react fast, and all of a sudden, I mean, that's money every single day, right? 5, 10, 15, 20,000 a day, a week, a month, depends on the size of the project. There's a lot of money at stake. Money is expensive, I like to say, so you want to make sure that you're constantly assessing, you're constantly planning, and then you're executing with as much precision and skill as you can, which is why you want to always make sure that you've got that strong power team around you, that you're always hiring competent and qualified contractors for your project, because there's nothing worse than when you get started and there's one person, right? You're only as strong as your weakest link. So all of a sudden one trade isn't pulling their weight, one guy's not showing up on time, the supplier, you go with a new supplier or a supplier that isn't reliable, all of a sudden your kitchens aren't showing up, your flooring's not there. And it's a big detriment to finalizing your project, getting occupancy and having people move in, getting the refinance done, and then exiting the property the way you want to, whether it's a buy and hold or a flip or however you're planning to do that, a refinance. So let's think about back to the original quote, right? You want to be moving mountains every day, but you also want to make sure that you've got time set in there for those contingencies, but also make sure that you've got time set in there so that not every day you got to move mountains, or you're able to take a break and have someone else move those mountains for you. So scheduling properly, figuring out, if it's a tight schedule, who can work on the weekends, who's willing to work on the weekends, who's willing to work after hours, and scheduling that all in and making sure that you yourself are taking the time for yourself so you're not feeling that burnout. And a lot of people, there's a lot of debate right now on what burnout is, how burnout occurs, and all that. So for me personally, if I don't have time to, watch a YouTube video or two throughout the day, maybe listen to a podcast, go for a run, hit the gym, go in the hot tub, just have that, hour or two to myself, I start to feel it. And once it starts compounding time and time and time again, you really start feeling it. And so you want to make sure that you're scheduling that stuff in alongside all the work. So you're assessing your project out. And sometimes, you know what? I've done it before where I just know like the next 6 to 8 weeks are going to just suck. And I know you tell my wife, tell the kids, you're not going to see me for the next couple weeks. But there is an end goal in sight. We've got that end goal planned out. So we're just going to be moving those mountains with bulldozers all day long. And once we get them to where they got to be, we get to stop. And so with that, with the proper planning, the proper execution, your mountains will be moved every day. And again, like we said, things come up, and it's just like the stock market, right? Up and down, up and down, up and down. But you're going to make sure that you're always progressing, even on those slow days. Sometimes those slow days have to happen so that the progress can happen, right? We talk about that, making sure that you're finding solutions for those problems. But if we do all that, if we're assessing, we're planning, we're executing constantly, we're working with everyone, we're collaborating over competing with each other, we're going to build better. We all get to live happy, and we always will build like a pro.